Most people think women choose who they sleep with based on logic, but sexual attraction kicks in long before her brain decides. It starts in her nervous system, and her body leaves subtle clues you've never been taught to notice. Until now. So today, we're breaking down 20 subconscious signs a woman will show when she's genuinely turned on by you. These signs are everywhere once you know how to see them. And wait until you hear the final one, because it's the signal most men completely miss right when it matters most. But before we get into the signs, there's something you need to understand, because knowing what to look for is useless if you're not actually seeing it in real time. You have to train your awareness. These signs aren't loud or obvious. They're subtle, instinctive, and often happen in split seconds. So if your attention is all over the place, or you're too stuck in your head trying to impress her, you'll miss every single one of them, even if they're right in front of you. Start practicing in low-pressure situations. That could be a conversation with a friend, a barista, or someone in your social circle. Don't try to impress. Just observe. Watch how people lean, breathe, shift, touch their face or neck when things get slightly personal. Your job isn't to act, it's to notice. You can also practice this as a silent observer. Watch how people interact in public, at cafes, parties, on dates nearby. Who's leaning in? Who's fidgeting? Who's suddenly gone quiet? You'll start picking up on nonverbal shifts most people are blind to. The more you do this, the better your instincts become. And when the moment really counts, when you're with someone you're genuinely attracted to, you won't be guessing, you'll be noticing. In the moment. Calm, clear, in control. Let's move into the second thing most men never think about, but absolutely need to know. So let's say you start noticing the signs. You start noticing subtle shifts. Her energy changes. The air feels different between you. You don't know exactly why, but something's happening. Now what? Here's what not to do. Freak out, overthink it, or suddenly switch into performance mode. This isn't a green light to pounce. It's a signal to match the moment. The most powerful thing you can do when you feel that energy shift is stay calm. You don't need to comment on the signs. Don't say, "I saw you lean in," or "You're blushing." That kills the mood. Instead, lean into the vibe. Slow your pace. Let your voice drop naturally. Give her space to feel what she's feeling, without pressure. Sometimes the best move is silence, holding eye contact, letting tension build. If she's feeling turned on, she wants to know you feel it too, and that you can handle it. This is where most guys mess up. They either ignore the moment completely, or they rush to act and break the vibe. But the men who understand this, they let the energy simmer. They escalate when it's aligned, not forced. And here's the thing. When she's truly turned on, she doesn't want a performance. She wants to feel safe and desired. Your stillness, your awareness, your attunement, that's what makes her trust the moment. And that's what takes it from flirty to real. Now, let's talk about what happens when you don't pick up on these signs. Because that's a mistake that can cost you more than you think. This is where most guys blow it. And often they don't even realize what happened until it's too late. She was giving you signs. Her body was showing you everything, through the kinds of subtle cues you weren't trained to see. But they were there, and in her mind, you didn't feel it. You missed it. Not because you weren't interested, but because you weren't paying attention. So what happens? She assumes you're not into her, that she misread it. She feels embarrassed, maybe even rejected, and she shuts it down. That spark you could have acted on, it fizzles. And once that window closes, it rarely opens again. This is the silent way most opportunities die. No argument, no drama. Just a subtle shift, on her end, that says, never mind. And here's the hard truth. It doesn't just affect that one moment. If this becomes a pattern, women start to see you as safe, but not sexually present, nice, but forgettable. And once that reputation sticks, attraction dies fast. The good news? You can fix this. By learning to read the signs and respond in the right way, you show up differently. You stop overthinking. You stop chasing. You start leading. Because when you do pick up on the signs, that's when things unfold naturally, smoothly, without pressure. That's when she leans in harder, opens up more, stays longer. And with that in mind, let's get into the 20 signs a woman will show you when she's genuinely turned on. Starting with one you've definitely seen, but probably never understood. 1. Her chest subtly lifts toward you when you're talking. She's subconsciously presenting her body. Most men think women get turned on by what you say, but arousal is far more about presence than it is about words. When a woman is feeling sexually activated, her body betrays her before her mind does. One of the earliest, most subtle signs is a physical adjustment. Her chest lifts forward, not in an exaggerated push-up way, but gently, instinctively. What's happening is this. Her posture changes. Her ribcage opens slightly. Her breathing gets deeper and pulls her chest toward you. It's primal. In the animal world, it's a presentation signal, but in humans it comes through as a barely noticeable adjustment, especially when you're standing close or sitting beside her. The key here is that she doesn't know she's doing it. She might shift her seat forward, straighten her spine, lift her chin, but the result is the same. Her chest is angled toward you. You'll especially notice this if she wasn't doing it earlier in the conversation, but suddenly starts when the tension rises or when you lower your voice. Her body is showing interest before her words catch up. 2. She keeps adjusting the inside of her thigh or smoothing her skirt because she suddenly feels warm. This one is incredibly easy to miss because it looks innocent. She might tug slightly at the edge of her skirt, smooth the fabric across her thighs, shift in her seat like she's uncomfortable. What's actually happening? Blood flow. When a woman is sexually turned on, blood rushes to her pelvic region. It creates heat, pressure, and even tingling sensations. She becomes hyper-aware of the skin on her thighs, her hips, her waist, and that awareness often triggers small, repetitive adjustments, especially when she's wearing tighter clothes. She's not doing it to look sexy. She's doing it because she suddenly feels everything more. A chair that was fine 2 minutes ago might feel too much now. The hem of her skirt might suddenly feel scratchy. You'll see her shift, recross her legs, or even lightly press her palm to the inside of her thigh as if she's trying to self-soothe. You weren't imagining that moment. That was real arousal happening in real time. 3. Her lips get fuller or slightly flushed while you talk. You don't need her to bite her lip to know she's into you. That's performative. What's more revealing is when her lips change, visibly, physiologically, without her realizing it. During sexual arousal, capillaries expand, increasing blood flow to sensitive areas. The lips are packed with capillaries. So when a woman is turned on, her lips may appear slightly plumper, darker, or more flushed. She's not applying more lipstick. Her body is reacting. This is especially noticeable in natural light or when she's not wearing heavy makeup. You might also see her lick or press her lips together, not to seduce you, but because she can feel the difference. Her lips are more sensitive now. She's reacting to your voice, your closeness, your energy. Again, this isn't about her doing something sexy. It's her body becoming more sensual, automatically. 4. She changes the tempo of her breathing when your voice drops, not just your presence. A lot of guys know that proximity can make a woman's heart race, but few realize that the sound of your voice, specifically the depth and rhythm of it, can trigger a deeply sexual reaction. If you're talking in a lower register, especially in a private space or quieter environment, watch how her breathing responds. It might go from steady to shallower, or from quick to slow. The key isn't just fast breathing, it's disrupted breathing. When a woman is turned on, her autonomic nervous system starts activating, blood pressure changes, and her respiratory rate adapts. It's why your presence can literally make her chest rise and fall differently. Even better, if you notice her suddenly taking a deeper breath after you speak, that's not coincidence. That's her nervous system struggling to regulate her response. And if your voice alone is doing that, you're turning her on without touching a single thing. 5. Her lower back arches when she leans in. This is one of the most primal, least discussed signs of arousal, and it's straight out of biology textbooks. When a female feels intense sexual energy, her lower back arches slightly, pushing her hips backward and her chest forward. It's not a conscious pose. She's not posing for a magazine. It's instinctual body language. The arch exaggerates the curve of her spine, a subtle display that, in evolutionary terms, signals openness and readiness. You'll notice this when she leans over a table, when she stretches in her seat, or even when she's turning to look at something and you catch her posture mid-move. That curve? That's not accidental. That's sexual tension manifesting in her lower spine. Before we discuss the next point, let's talk about why most men actually miss these signs, and why it really matters. Most guys miss these signs, not because they're stupid, and not because women are trying to hide them. It's because most men are taught to look for the wrong things. You were probably told to look for overt interest, laughing, texting first, leaning in, compliments. But sexual attraction doesn't always show up in ways that feel obvious. In fact, the real signs often show up in stillness, subtle tension, or micro behaviors a woman doesn't even realize she's doing. If you're only watching for the loud stuff, you'll miss the truth completely. The second reason you miss them? You're stuck in your own head. You're thinking about what to say next, wondering if you're good enough, trying not to mess it up. Meanwhile, her body is literally telling you, I'm into this. But because you're focused on performance, you never see the invitation. And that costs you. It costs you the timing, the moment, the chance to move things forward naturally. Because when a woman feels that sexual energy building and you don't respond to it, she doesn't feel safe, she doesn't feel seen. She pulls away, thinking you're the one who's not into it. And once that window closes, it usually doesn't open again. The men who are most successful with women aren't necessarily better looking, richer, or smoother. They're more aware. They feel the shifts in energy. They notice the change in her voice. They see when her body leans in, and they don't ignore it. That kind of awareness doesn't just make you better with women, it makes you better in life. You show up differently. You become the guy who doesn't need to ask, "Did she like me?" Because you already knew the moment she did. If you're trying to become the kind of man who actually notices what others miss, comment "aware" below. Let's see who's paying attention on a deeper level. Let's dive back in. 6. She unconsciously exposes the soft underside of her wrist or arm when you're close. When women feel sexually attracted, they tend to reveal vulnerable skin areas without even noticing. One of the biggest giveaways is the underside of the wrist, a nerve-dense area that's both intimate and symbolic of trust. You'll see her flip her wrist outward while talking, or let her palm face up when resting her hand near you. It might look like nothing, just casual hand placement, but it's loaded. That open body posture signals openness on a subconscious level. She's not guarding herself. She's exposing something sensitive, both literally and emotionally. She may also run her fingers lightly across that area or lightly rub her inner forearm. Again, it's not self-grooming. It's the nervous system reacting to heat, touch, and anticipation. 7. She does micropauses before answering you, as if her brain glitches for a moment. Ever ask her something and see her freeze for just a beat before answering? That pause isn't hesitation. It's her brain buffering. When sexual arousal kicks in, cognitive processing slows down, especially if there's a strong emotional or physical pull. It's like her mind gets interrupted by the sensation of being around you. Her body is saying yes before her brain can even articulate it. You'll notice it especially when you make a suggestive comment or say something intimate. That split-second delay is her mind trying to play it cool, while her body is screaming in the background. These moments are gold. They mean the barrier between thought and instinct is breaking down. And that's exactly where sexual attraction lives. 8. She gets unusually still when you touch certain areas. Not giggly, but quiet. Most men think a woman giggling or squealing at touch is a good sign. But the truth is, stillness is often a much stronger one. If you casually touch her, on her lower back, the side of her waist, her hip, or even her forearm, and she suddenly goes quiet or still, that's not discomfort. That's her trying to process a rush of sensation. The nervous system goes quiet when it's overwhelmed, especially by pleasure. If she felt nothing, she'd keep moving. If she felt nervous, she'd talk to cover it. But if you touch her and she freezes just for a second, her body is telling her, "This feels good. Pay attention." Watch closely. Stillness is not neutral. It's deeply charged. 9. Her knees angle inward for a moment, then relax. You're sitting beside her. Her knees are pointed forward, then suddenly they pull inward, then settle again. It's quick, subtle, but it's loaded. This is a pelvic tension response. When arousal builds, muscles in the thighs and pelvis tighten, sometimes without her even realizing it. Pulling the knees inward is both a protective and a pleasure response. It shows that she's feeling something intense and trying to contain it. If she then relaxes again afterward, that's your signal. She's not nervous. She's turned on, and her body just betrayed her. 10. She lowers her voice only when the topic becomes even vaguely intimate. Women often raise their voice when excited, but when aroused, it's the opposite. Her tone will drop, just slightly. The pitch will deepen. She'll speak slower, with a bit more weight in her words. You'll hear this shift the moment the conversation turns even slightly intimate, not sexual necessarily, but emotionally close, vulnerable, or flirty. The lower tone is her nervous system entering a more sensual mode. She's not performing. It's an automatic change triggered by arousal. You'll feel it more than you'll hear it. And once you do, you'll never unhear it again. 11. She plays with temperature contrasts. Cold drink on her neck, cool glass on her thigh, etc. This one slips under nearly everyone's radar. When a woman is turned on, her skin becomes hypersensitive. Blood rushes toward the surface, especially in areas like the neck, thighs, and wrists. She might start to feel flushed, warm, even if the room isn't hot. And that's when she unconsciously reaches for cold contrast. Watch what she does with a drink. She might press the glass to her neck, hold it between her thighs for a moment, lightly run a cool bottle across her forearm or collarbone. It doesn't look intentional, but it's a form of temperature self-regulation, her way of managing the heat that arousal has built up. It's not about thirst. It's her nervous system searching for relief. When you see that cool glass-to-skin move, she's not bored. She's burning up, and her body is trying to cool her down. 12. She tries to mask a swallow that suddenly becomes louder. Here's one most men will never pick up on, but once you do, it's impossible to miss. When a woman becomes sexually aroused, saliva production increases. It's part of the body's preparation for intimacy. The throat becomes more sensitive, the mouth a little wetter, and swallowing becomes more noticeable. What's fascinating is that she often tries to hide it. You'll see her turn her head slightly before swallowing, or she'll look down. Her jaw might tighten for a moment, then release. And if the room is quiet, you'll actually hear the swallow, followed by a little exhale or lip press. You didn't make her nervous. You made her feel something. Her body is reacting, and she's doing her best to pretend it didn't just happen. But it did. Loud swallows don't lie. 13. She listens to the sound of your footsteps or breathing more than your words. This one is deeply primal. When sexual attraction is present, the female brain shifts into a more instinctive, sensory-focused state. Words fade into the background. What she starts picking up on instead are low-frequency physical signals, like the sound of your footsteps or your breathing. You'll see it when you walk into a room. She hears your steps and looks up before she even realizes why. Or during a close conversation, you'll notice she stops talking, not because she's distracted, but because she's listening to how you sound, not what you're saying. This is particularly common when you're alone together and the mood shifts. She might not remember what you said, but she'll remember the weight of your presence, the sound of your voice, the rhythm of your breath. That's what her body locks onto when she's turned on. Still watching? That puts you in the top 10%. Seriously, that kind of attention and focus pays off. Type sharp in the comments so I know you're one of the rare ones who's actually locked in. 14. She presses her lips together, then releases them when you get closer. Forget lip biting. Everyone knows that one. A far more authentic sign of arousal is the subtle lip press, where she holds her lips closed for just a beat, then gently lets them part again. This isn't a flirty move. It's a moisture adjustment reflex. Arousal affects salivary glands and changes mouth texture. So when you get physically close, within personal space, you'll see her lips press, then slowly relax. It might happen when you lean toward her, or when you're speaking, and she suddenly becomes aware of your proximity. You might even catch her doing it while watching you silently. Don't expect her to notice she's doing it. She won't. But her nervous system is preparing her lips for something more than words. And her body just told you. 15. Her nostrils flare for a split second when she's near you. This is about as primal as it gets, and almost no one talks about it. When a woman is sexually turned on, her olfactory system, sense of smell, becomes more sensitive. She becomes hyper-aware of your scent, your cologne, your skin, your natural pheromones, and the most visible sign? A quick nostril flare. It's tiny, less than a second, but unmistakable. Her nose widens slightly when you lean in, or when you pass her closely, or when she catches your scent mid-conversation. She might immediately glance away, take a sip of her drink, or change the subject, because her body just had a visceral reaction. This isn't her smelling something nice. It's her instinctively processing the chemical cocktail that makes her want to get even closer. And flared nostrils are her body's way of saying, I want more of that. 16. She repositions herself to leave her neck, collarbone, or shoulder exposed. Most men think showing skin is about dressing sexy, but some of the most erotic exposure happens after she's already dressed. Watch how she adjusts her body during a conversation. Does she pull her hair over one shoulder and expose the other? Does she tilt her head slightly to expose the line of her neck? Does her cardigan slide down just enough to show the slope of her shoulder? And she doesn't fix it? These areas, neck, collarbone, shoulder, are erogenous zones, full of sensory receptors. And when a woman feels sexual energy building, she may instinctively reveal these spots to the man who's triggering it. She's not doing it for attention. She's doing it because her body wants to be felt, and it starts by being seen. 17. She reacts physically before mentally. Her body stiffens or softens before she decides how to respond. This is a key difference between emotional attraction and sexual tension. When a woman is feeling mentally attracted, she processes with her thoughts. But when she's sexually turned on, her body reacts first. You might make a bold comment, and before she even speaks, her shoulders stiffen, or her hips shift, or her hands go still. A second later, her brain catches up and she responds like nothing happened. These micro-responses are called somatic cues. The body says yes, or at least I feel something, before the mind can filter it. The moment her posture shifts before her words do, that's real. That's arousal. And it means your impact on her is more than intellectual. 18. She touches places she finds sensitive, not you. Her sides, her collarbone, the curve of her hip. This is a beautiful one. When aroused, women often engage in displacement behaviors, self-touch that has nothing to do with nervousness and everything to do with internal stimulation. You might see her lightly rub the side of her ribs, or gently stroke her own collarbone. She might place her hand on the outside of her hip, or trail her fingers over her stomach. These aren't fidgets. These are body-based responses to sexual tension. She's feeling it. She's trying to regulate it. and her hands are going to the parts of herself that feel most responsive in that moment. It's not about you noticing, it's about her coping with how turned on she's becoming. 19. She stops fidgeting completely when you enter her personal space. Stillness, again. But this time it's about anticipation. If a woman is mildly interested, she might giggle, play with her drink, shuffle her feet, or check her phone. But if she's sexually drawn to you, and you suddenly step into her physical space, you might notice something change. She goes still. That movement stops. That casual chatter pauses. Her shoulders drop slightly. Her eyes widen or soften. Her breathing slows. This is her body shifting into a more sensual, present state, and it usually only happens when she wants the contact to continue. Don't rush in. Let her stay there, because when she holds that stillness without backing away, she's giving you everything you need to know. 20. Her goodbye takes too long. This is the final sign, and maybe the most human. When a woman is emotionally attracted to you, she might stay in touch. But when she's sexually attracted, when she's turned on, mentally and physically, you'll notice something else. She doesn't want to leave. You've said goodbye. The check's been paid. The moment is over. But she lingers. She opens a new conversation just as you're saying something final. She mentions a random story. She checks her phone but doesn't move. Maybe she hugs you and holds it. Maybe she walks away, then looks back. All of that? That's hesitation. That's desire. That's her silently wondering if you're going to do something. Say something. Make a move. Close the distance. And if you don't, she'll think about that for days. Up next, discover how to tell if she misses you, or learn what she says when she wants to sleep with you. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more.